Implementation of breaking news would be a little different because we are not calling any backend API. We are using the breaking news API directly to call the record from in-memory database so that it is fast. And one more thing that I told you earlier also, that I cannot run this breaking news on my local machine because I cannot access Elasticache from my local machine. So you will have to run this breaking news Python program in the EC2 instance. But first let's do the coding. And this is what it is. What I have done, I have imported Flask and request as usual. Then I'm importing the Redis module, and the endpoint URL endpoint is read breaking news, and it is reading breaking news from the Redis database. Channel ID and article date being the key, so we'll have to pass these two keys, and because these are the breaking news keys, and the Redis host, and then I'm reading using JSON that was written earlier. And this is the Elasticache endpoint. So what you have to do is that you'll have to copy the endpoint of your Elasticache instance here. That's the only change that you have to make. Now let me go ahead and copy this and run it in one of the EC2 instances. And I'll be using the same EC2 instance where I have added new articles. And the program is breakingnews.py, and I'll be running it in port number 10003. So let me save it and then start the execution of this program. All right, it is running. Now let's use Postman tool to get the data of the API. But before that, I'll have to add some breaking news. I do not have any breaking news in my Redis database. So let us go ahead and add that. We'll use the report news endpoint that we had used earlier. And I'll have to make sure that both report news and read news are running on my local machine. So I have report news running, read news running also, and the backend APIs, which is read news articles, add news articles, and breaking news, those should run also. So let's take a look at, let me stop this, and what will I do is that I have read news articles here. So let me run it using a background thread, and it is running in the background, and I can see the output in this no hangup file. So this is the first instance, and let me stop this one also. Let me run both of them in the background. First is the breaking news and then the add news articles. Okay, so both are running. All the three backend APIs are running, and all the two front-end APIs are also running. So let me first go ahead and add news. To add news, I'll have to use port 8002 and report news, and here I'll have to pass a body in raw format, and I'll have to mention it in JSON. And this is the first news that I'm sending regarding Bangalore's weather. So let me send, okay, so I'll have to use the put method and send it. So news reported. Let me add a few more. This is the second one about me creating this project. That is also breaking news, it seems. It has been added also. Then the third one is that as I'm concluding, I hope that this course helps you to start your API journey using Python Flask. That is the breaking news. And all of them are breaking news, by the way. It has also been added. And finally, some different news. Let's say hypothetically Apple has launched iPhone 18 today. Okay, all the four have been added. Let us go ahead and read the news. So first, what will I do? I'll use this read news API, and I'll pass just the news date. And if I pass this one, I should be able to see all the news. So read news is running on port 8001. All right, so I'm getting all the news here for today's date. And let's say I mention a particular channel ID. Let's say channel 24 that I have just added, and send it. I can see this record, right? So it is Apple launched iPhone 18 today for this particular channel. Actually, let me add that on channel 25. Okay, so now let me read it back. So news API org anyway, it is working from the external API. So from channel 25, I should get the Apple ID news. And from channel 24, I should get something. I'm not sure whether, okay, Apple ID news has been added as in channel 24 also. There's some problem that I messed up while sending the data. For channel 20, I can see this output, which says, I hope this course helps you to start your API journey using Python. Now let's go ahead and read the breaking news. Now, so far from DynamoDB, the end-to-end latency has been 171, 200 milliseconds, 100 to 200 milliseconds. Let's see if we use the in-memory database using the breaking news endpoint, does it help or not? And I'll have to use the public IP address of the EC2 instance followed by the port, and the endpoint is read breaking news, and I'll have to pass the channel ID and the date. So I'd use channel ID 24, 20 and 25. Let's see if I get any breaking news or not. And this is the breaking news on channel 24 that Apple has launched something, and the execution time was 84 milliseconds, which is lesser than DynamoDB, which was approximately 100 to 200 milliseconds. Same is the case with the other one. It is also 92 milliseconds. Let's look at channel 20, and this is the message. And we are getting the record from the in-memory database also. So we have implemented all the APIs. One thing before I close is that I do not need the read breaking news program anymore. I can delete this, and this is not needed. All right, so everything has been implemented and this particular project is done. So we have implemented these front-end APIs, read news, report news and breaking news. Out of these three, breaking news is being hosted on EC2 instance, but read news articles and add news articles are already there in the EC2 instance. Read news articles are reading from an external API and DynamoDB table, and add news articles are writing to DynamoDB table and to the in-memory database, which is Redis Elasticache. So for your exercise, you'll have to implement today's news, archive news, read archive news, MySQL database, and archive article.